Welcome back to FHTV Plus. Today, it's the turn of Chelsea. And who better to represent Chelsea than my friend? It's Charlie from Blue Brother CFC. Buddy, how we doing? You good?
Yes, mate, not too bad. Pleasure to be here. As always good to catch up with you, mate. I'm good. Obviously, the football's not great, but everything else is all good, mate.
Good. Well, listen, as I've done a series of these with other creators, I ask for a quote. And your quote about Chelsea was quite simply, shit since Christmas. What's going on, mate? Chelsea flew out the blocks. There was talks of titles and it's just been sort of stagnating. Would it be fair to say? What's happening?
Mate, what's happening is that we just aren't good enough. It's as simple as that. Look, the manager is inexperienced. This is his second season as a manager. Yep. The squad's been put together shockingly. Now, that's not me saying that there's not good players in there, because there are good players in there. But the way the squad's been assembled, there are gaping holes with the amount of money we've been spent, and there is literally no leaders and no experience in that team whatsoever to turn to get you over the line in difficult moments. There's no know-how in the team. So that's obviously a massive problem. And I think as well, I've been guilty of it myself. I think a lot of the fans, and maybe media to a certain extent as well, are good players that we have are probably been made out to be much better than they actually are. And I'm sure
the 2025 football fan overrating every player.
Yeah, no, but that's it, man. I've probably been guilty of it myself, you know. Like, a lot of these players we've got, don't get me wrong, there's some very talented footballers, but I think from a Chelsea fan base perspective, we have made out that a lot of these players are actually we made them out to be better than what they actually are. And the reality is that a lot of these players just aren't that good, or they're not that good right now. And we might have to wait a couple seasons, 2-3 seasons, for these guys to become good. And we don't have that time to do that. We don't have the time to do it. So whilst the manager's not been great, you know, don't get me wrong, there's things that he has to improve with. The reality is that the tools that he's been given, I'm convinced you could put any manager in this dugout at Chelsea, they're going to be having the same problems. So it's a combination of it. It's, mate, essentially from top to bottom, it's just mediocre. It's just not good enough in all aspects of the club.
I mean, look, what will be thrown at you, and you know me, I'm a little bit more level-headed than the fans that want to just laugh and whatever. And as a Spurs fan, as you know, it's impossible for me to laugh at anybody else about anything. What will get talked about is the £1 billion, right? I don't know the exact number, but if it's just over £1 billion on players, it's a whole new squad over the last few years. But with that, are you shocked that within there they haven't bought leaders? They haven't bought a top goal scorer. They've not bought, like, your goalkeeping situation. They've not bought a top goalkeeper. So are people looking at the billion, but not actually looking at it in the right way? It's not like you've gone out and bought your Decos and your Lampards and your Drogbas and your Makelele's, is it? It's a young billion, if you will.
I mean, look, I think you're right there, mate, in terms of people just see the headline figure and think, oh my God, that money's been spent, therefore Chelsea should be competing and winning major trophies. Now, we should be doing a lot better with the money that's been spent. I appreciate that. But at the same time, you have to look at the way that those funds have been allocated. And that's where I cut the manager a little bit of slack here. Because you look at the squad that's been put together, and these owners have been here 3 years now. When they took over, we needed a top centre forward. We don't have one. When they took over, we needed a top goalkeeper. We still don't have one. When they took over, we needed a top level centre half, really. We still don't have one. And so the same holes are in the squad that have been there from the moment that this ownership walked through the door. So I look at it and I think, yes, money's been spent, but that allocation of funds is shocking. It's absolutely criminal. You look at that team, and it's not a finished team still. And like, for the amount of money that's been spent, it's unforgivable for the squad to still be lacking in so many key areas. And it feels like the way that they've gone about this is very much scattergun. It's just like, they basically bought a load of lottery tickets and hope you're going to get the winning numbers. You might get the winning number. You might get the winning numbers on one ticket, Cole Palmer, but most of the tickets are going to be useless. You might win a fiver on one of the tickets, and someone might be all right. But at the end of the day, most of these guys are not going to be good enough, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now. Is that ultimately a lot of these players in the squad, there are some talented ones, but a lot of these guys right now are either not good enough or they should be squad players for Chelsea, but instead they're playing week in, week out.
Yeah, do you know what? I mean, this isn't the first time I'm having this conversation. You know, to a lesser degree, I was having this conversation with Flawless last week about Man United, and we were saying, like, you know, everyone gets on to Xerxes, Hoyland, and Garnacho's back, but in reality, those three players should be learning from three senior pros that are in the first team, and they should be coming behind them to take 20 minutes here, cup games there. And it's kind of the same with you lot. And when I look at your team, again, I look and think, you got some good footballers. But for me, there's nothing that, other than Palmer when he's on form, there's nothing where I think you actually stand out. Now, if we concentrate on your centre-half area for a moment, Charlie, I look and I go, yeah, you've got a number of options there. If you look at Fofana and you look at Colwill and you look at, I'm probably missing Adebayo. I'm missing one.
We've got Chalobah there. There's
Chalobah.
Badia Shield. There's options, but
they're all there. There's no one there in that list where I go, bang, that's a Rudiger, that's a Van Dijk, that's a Ruben Diaz. You know, they're all sort of much of a muchness. Is that the problem, that you've bought a lot of good players, but none that actually go, that's your first choice centre half, that's your first choice winger?
But that's exactly it. There's a lot of players there where you're just like, they're like that. They're not terrible footballers. They're okay. And that's fine to have within a squad. You're going to have some okay players in a squad, some average players, and they're going to make an important contribution, maybe 10, 15 games a season. And every squad has got players in there. They weren't the most talented, but they make important contributions. All title-winning squads have those kind of players. The problem is when those kind of players are making up the bulk of your first 11, then you've got a massive problem. Because you've got these guys in, right, who aren't the most experienced footballers, and they're at a very early stage in their career. They're being asked to come and play week in, week out for Chelsea in the Premier League in a very pressurised environment with a lot of pressure on results, a lot of media scrutiny. And these guys, they're not ready for that. You know, where are the... I hate talking about Chelsea in the past because it's irrelevant, it's gone now. But where are your Terrys? Where are your Lampards, your Czechs, your Drogbas? Where are those guys that when the going is getting tough for these young players, arm around the shoulder, don't worry, mate, I'm going to carry you through this? There's no one. We had Thiago.
Also, they're intimidating, Charlie. You know, opposition players walking down the tunnel at Stamford Bridge go, Drogba, Terry, Czech, you know, Carvalho, Deco, Macalet. You're like, wow, look at this team. Now, at the moment, I get the feeling with you guys, and it's something that my team couldn't do, but it's almost like if we man-mark Cole Palmer, if we nullify Cole Palmer, where else is the actual worry? Where's the danger man that gives you an 8 or 9 out of 10 each week? There isn't, is there?
But that's it, Sava. There's no fear factor. Teams aren't scared of playing Chelsea anymore. You know, you go to Stamford Bridge in years gone by, into like difficult place to go, top players, and you know you're in for a tough game. And like more often than not, we would win games in the tunnel with the players that you mentioned. When you're walking out that away dressing room, you're like, oh shit, you see the people lined up, they're massive, they're physically imposing. Now you look at Chelsea and just think, you know, we'll have an all right afternoon here. You know, and that fear factor's missing.
Is that how you feel about your midfield? Because you know, I know when you bought Caicedo, obviously it was a huge fee, which I think is always unfair on a player when the fee is that big. Same with Enzo Fernandez. When we played you the other day, and of course I didn't expect to get anything at Chelsea. I think we've won once in 30, I don't know, probably once in a million years or something at Chelsea, once in 34 years. But I was really impressed with Fernandez and Caicedo as a two in midfield. Again, I don't watch every one of your games. Is that a good area for you? Does that need improvement? Are you happy with that at least? Or
no? I think the midfield, to be honest, Savra, is probably one of the strongest parts of our team.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
and Enzo and Caicedo have done very well this season. I think Caicedo's been outstanding in midfield, and you know he's been brilliant for us. Enzo Fernandez is having his best season at Chelsea. He's added goals to his games. He's popped up with important goals this season. You know, he's developed into a bit of a leader as well, which is important for us because we're lacking those in the team. And then you look at players like you got Romeo Lavia, who's a quality player, but again, he's just plagued with injury issues. Hasn't played anywhere near enough football. I think he's made 14 appearances in bordering 2 seasons. It's just like it's really sad to see. But unfortunately, when you're squad, and this is another mistake we've made, when you're squad planning at Chelsea, we basically planned our summer business and sort of planned a lot of the squad round for Fana, James, and Lavia being fit for a season. The 3 of them haven't shown they can be fit for a season in the longest time possible. But look, midfield, you've got Lavia, in midfield, Fernandez, Caicedo. 3 very good options. You've got Andre Santos coming back into the fold after a brilliant season at Strasbourg next summer. And we've signed the young kid, Dario Isugu from Sporting Lisbon, who could be all right. I mean, I don't really know too much about him. But midfield in general, the options we've got in the middle of the park are great. The issues that we've got are at both ends of the pitch. The goalkeeper's not good enough. We haven't got a good enough centre forward. And we don't have a leader of the back line. We replaced Thiago Silva with Tosin on a free last summer. Now, I'm not saying it's a direct replacement, but that space in the squad was filled. So Thiago Silva left, and that place in the squad was filled by Tosin on a free. Now, that's not improving what you've got.
He's a good Premier League defender in a squad, right? Like I've got no problem with Tosin, but it's not someone you say, you know what, that guy's going to get us back to the dizzy heights. And you know, interesting you mentioned about both ends. I mean, if we look at your goalkeeper situation and then we'll go to the striker. Whenever I've watched Chelsea, I mean, I don't support Chelsea, and whenever your goalkeeper gets the ball, I'm not going to lie, I'm like, oh, no. You know when you feel nervous? A bit like Onana at Man United, a bit like Vicario's display yesterday against Wolves. You know, when you just feel nervous. You bought him, though, and you've got, I always forget his name. Is it
Jorgensen?
Jorgensen, yeah. Goal. You've got to get a top goalkeeper. Surely you've got to go this summer and buy a top goalkeeper, surely.
Well, I don't think we're going to buy a goalkeeper this summer, but I think we've got Petrovic on loan at Strasbourg, who played quite a lot last season, and he's probably our best goalkeeper right now. If he comes back and he's number 1 next season, I'd be happy with that as long as we sign a striker and whatnot. I could deal with him being number 1 and maybe address it the following summer. But ultimately, you know, the goalkeepers we've bought aren't good enough. And we're going back to when we haven't replaced Thibaut Courtois, and he left in 2018 or 2017 or whenever he left.
He's not bad, him as well, is he? He's not a bad goalkeeper.
No, he's not a bad goalkeeper. Him. Look, mate, we've gone from having Petr Cech and Thibaut Courtois, and we've now got Robert Sanchez as a number 1 goalkeeper, which is absolutely criminal. But again, one thing that doesn't help as well in terms of atmosphere, in terms of fans getting a bit sort of restless. I can guarantee there would be a much more relaxed feeling if there was a competent goalkeeper in goal, someone you know that isn't going to make a mistake and give the ball away every single time he's got it at his feet. And I think that nervousness from a goalkeeper transfers onto the crowd. Yeah, I've got no way of quantifying this, but I can guarantee those centre-backs playing in front of him, how shaky the goalkeeper is having a massive impact on them as well.
For sure. Absolutely, for sure. Look, let's. I just want to quickly talk about your striker for 1 minute, and then I want to look at the back end of this season coming up for you guys. Look, you missed Nicholas Jackson for a lot of games. He's back now, but again, Nicholas Jackson for me is the sort of bloke that I think he's a good player. I think if you said to me that this is Bournemouth's number 1 striker, this is Wolves' number 1 striker, I get it. I just feel like if Chelsea are going to get back to where you were, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but is he that talisman? Is he that get the ball to me, 25 goal a season guy? Is he that level for you?
No, he's not. But this is the problem. So we signed him. When we signed him in summer 23 under Poch, no one thought, this guy's going to be the main guy. He'll be a rotation option, a good squad player. again, it comes back to our recruitment. We're putting players in a position that they're not ready to be in at this stage of their career. Like, Jackson shouldn't be playing number 9, first choice for Chelsea at this stage of his career. I agree with you. Would be a great squad player, a great rotational option. But him being in the position that he's in, with no competition for his place and no one to learn from, is not only not good for Chelsea, it's also not good for him. Now, he hasn't got that natural striker's instinct, that alertness in the box. Like, what you want your strikers to be great in the box. Jackson is not very good in the box, but everywhere else, he's actually very, very good. His hold-up play is great. His link-up play is good. He creates opportunities out of nothing. His runs in behind create space for other players. He drags defenders out of position. He's good at that stuff. But the actual thing you want your number 9 to be good at, in terms of being alert in the box presence, and sticking the ball in the back of the net, that's probably the worst part of his game. And so he would benefit.
Dominic
Solanke.
You've just described Dominic Solanke.
There's a lot of them, though. This new breed of, like, and this is an annoying thing about modern day recruitment, is that why have clubs stopped signing specialists in positions? Why is it, we'll get this guy. Clubs nowadays would almost rather have someone who can play across the front line, maybe like average to good, both on both wings and through the middle, rather than someone that just plays number 9. And that's a problem. You know, we're not signing out and out number 9. We're signing someone who can play across the front line, and ultimately, you need specialists in the key areas of the pitch. You need a specialist 6, you need a specialist centre forward, and you need a top level centre half and stuff. And so, I like Jackson, but Chelsea are not going to win anything with Nicholas Jackson up front as the main guy. Maybe in a few years he can develop into a main guy. We need a top-level striker to take the pressure off him and actually score.
Well, having said that, surely, Charlie, you are going to win a trophy this year. Surely, there is no way Chelsea don't win this Conference League, is there?
No, I mean, look, never say never in football, because there's always a chance that things can go wrong. But even for how badly we're playing and how poor the season's been since Christmas, I have to be honest, mate. Even for me, I would be absolutely shocked if we didn't win this competition. I really would be. Sure. It's one of those where it's a lose-lose situation, really, because you win it, you don't really get much credit because you're expected to win it. You're the best team in there by miles, the most expensive team. Chelsea, this will probably be the best team that's ever going to be in the Conference League, and that's just the reality. But look,
win it, no credit. Don't win it, absolute
exactly. It's a lose-lose.
Who's left in it? Who's left in it?
Fiorentina and Real Betis are in there. But they're both on the same side. So if Chelsea get to the final, it will more than likely face a Fiorentina or a Real Betis.
You're winning it. I'm gonna go out there right now and say you're gonna win it.
Yeah,
I truly don't see how you don't. So look, you're gonna win that. So there you go. There's a trophy. Your last 6 league games. Actually, before we do this, let's bring up the Premier League table. You can see there, Chelsea. 2 massive points dropped yesterday at home to a relegated team, all bar the shouting. That was your chance to be 4th above Newcastle United, who of course have got a game in hand. You messed it up, but Fulham away, Everton at home, Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, United at home, Forest away. You've got 6 games there. Let's be fair, it's going to be between you, City, and Newcastle and Forest. But for 3 places, you've got enough points in those 6 games.
I'll put Villa in there as well, mate. We're level.
I said Villa. Yeah, I started with Villa.
Sorry, yeah.
I think Villa up. I think Fulham have just got a bit too much to do.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But hey, is there enough points in your last 6 games for you to finish in that top 5?
I mean, technically, there's enough points on the table, yes. But if we're being honest, if I look at them last 6 games, I can see right now of how we're playing, I can see us winning one of them. Everton at home.
Wow.
Is probably the only one I could see us winning. Fulham away, difficult game. Newcastle, very good side. We've got a terrible record there. Forest doing very well. That could be a Champions League shootout potentially. Liverpool at Stamford Bridge, you look at it and you're thinking maybe the title's done by then. Possibly they might not be fully at it. The pressure's off. Maybe you can get something there. Our record against United in general in the Premier League is awful. no matter how bad they are.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it, mate, and if I'm being totally honest, I see us winning one of those games right now, and that's going to be nowhere near enough.
I'll be honest. I'll be very happy for you guys to win a few games and finish above Wolfies, Nottingham Forest. So
I would love it, but I'm not sure how likely that is to happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen. To be fair, this race from third place down to seventh is the only thing that's making the Premier League interesting at the moment, because the title's done.
Terrible season,
The bottom three is done. So look, it's going to be interesting because Man City have got a couple of tough games as well. Forest have got a couple of tough games. Newcastle have, Villa have. But hey, you've got Villa are in great form. 5 wins in 6. You guys aren't in terrible form.
You say that, Savo. We've taken from our last 15 matches in the league, we've taken 19 points. No,
I understand. I'm looking at the form here in the last.
Oh yeah, sure.
As you're going into here, but look, I think it's going to be really interesting. I think Man City will get it. I think Man City just have enough that they can do what they did at the weekend to teams like Palace, even going 2 down. I think Newcastle have got more than enough to do it, and a game in hand. I remember when I said to Wolfie, Forest are going to finish 7th. And I got.
Mate, I said that to him as well. I thought they'd finish 7th or 8th. I'm sticking with it as well, mate. I've got a feeling that that loss to Everton was dreadful. I'm not saying they're going to completely miss out, but I don't think they'll finish 3rd now.
No, I don't think they're going to finish in the Champions League. I think they're going to finish. I think 7th will. God knows anymore with the rules. I think 7th should get Europa. And
I'll get Europa League,
Conference League. So I still think they're going to get. Europe. But look, they've been caught up massively with Villa winning games, Newcastle winning games, City winning games. Look, Charlie, I'm going to ask you 2 questions to round all this up.
Yeah.
1, are Chelsea going to qualify for the Champions League next season?
No.
Is Maresca still going to be your manager next season?
Yeah, I'm almost certain that'll be the case, and it should be the case to a certain extent as well. So yeah, we won't get Champions League, but I think he'll definitely still be here.
Yeah, and listen, the last thing I'll show you is if you ever want to just make yourself feel just a little bit better about your situation. If I scroll all the way down, you can see a certain other London club there. 15th in the Premier League, 17 losses. Charlie, I feel people have stopped even giving me banter about this now because we're
I've got to the point now where it's not even that fun anymore because it happens every week. It's just like, that's the norm. But it's mad. 2 points off 17th.
I know. And do you know the funny thing is, when Gary O'Neill departed Wolves, we were miles in. I think they were second bottom. We were miles in front of them, and we were all saying, "Well, there's no way teams like that catch us." They're 2 points behind us. They're 2 points behind us. So
it's mental.
Bad times. Anyway, Ange, Charlie, absolutely loved it. Listen, for anyone who's watching this that doesn't follow Charlie, please do, at Blue Brother CFC. The link is going to be in the chat. And also, if you are coming over and watching this from Charlie's channel, thank you very much for the support. Please do subscribe. And hopefully you'll see I'm an okay Spurs fan. I'm an okay one. Charlie, thanks very much. I would say good luck. I don't really like Chelsea, but to be honest, I'm just good luck. I don't care anymore. Good luck. My team's so bad. Just good luck. Thanks for recording with me, and I'll speak to you very, very soon.
No, thanks, mate.